As our parents get older or children need help, we are often faced with difficult decisions in regards to their care. Let East Carolina Home Care help you stop worrying and improve the quality of their life and yours. East Carolina Home Care offers personalized, compassionate care right in your loved one's own home. Whether it is a few hours, a week, or 24 hours, we help with dressing, grooming, meals, toileting, and ambulation. East Carolina Home Care is there. Call us today for a free in-home assessment.
For the caring expert home care you need, call us today at 252-451-1333. Visit us on the web at eastcarolinahomecare.com or find East Carolina Home Care on Facebook. You're listening to the Social Spitball Show on blogtalkradio.com with your host, Bram Sarkowski, and featuring Barbara D'Antonio and George Fisher. Now, let's rejoin the conversation.
All right, we got everybody on the line now, and we've got Randy Voller, chairman of the North Carolina Democratic Party. Chairman Voller, let me ask you one other thing. There was some talk that when Dr. Chavis came down to the SEC in Greensboro in the summer of 2012 that he was paid $9,000. Can you shed some light on that?
Okay, that's all connected to your previous question. You know, they're trying to say, based on what I could read, that CNC Associates billed $9,000, right? A bill that had been an old invoice that had to do with services from, before June 15th and before the contract was terminated. And as I just previously explained, I went back to Mr. Carmichael and said, look, over this period, you'd already been paid X amount of dollars. There was some money for videos. So as far as, Casey and I, who had been there at the time and others, you're not due that $4,500. You're due, essentially the prorated amount, the $3,000 for May and the $1,500 to June 15th. That's why that invoice was cut in half. And that's it. That takes care of it. That it cuts off right there. The fact of the matter is the NCDP sat on the invoice for months and months and months, and then, we get into December, and I know there are a lot of people out there who can feel the same way when you do some work and you don't have any money coming in, you expect eventually to get paid. I mean, you don't expect to get pushed off. I mean, there's only so much things you can do as a volunteer for free. Now, as far as impugning Dr. Chavis, I resent that because the man came down here basically because I said, we need you to come and speak to this group. They need to be electrified. Would you do it for me? He's already coming into the state consistently as an honored alumnus of Duke Divinity School, which he was there last week, as an alumnus of UNC Charlotte, which he's going to be honored and down there next week on Wednesday and Thursday, part of Black History Month, where they're going to show Blood Don't Sign My Name, which connects he and Tim Tyson, and Dr. Tyson. And
that's right.
He's consistently in the state speaking to groups and all over America speaking to groups. And, in fact, this will blow people away. While he was visiting me on that weekend, he talked to Nelson Mandela, who is a personal friend of his, okay? I asked him, could he get Mandela on the phone, and I was going to try to do a recorded message for the SEC. But he was sick. Of course, he passed away recently. We were almost going to get him on the phone to do a recorded message for the NCDP from Mandela because of Ben's connection to him. So I resent the fact that these people would impugn his character by saying that he was paid to come down there. No. He came, everybody cheered and were electrified by his speech, and then he left. And I know the only reason they're doing this is because he gave this speech. Any reasonable person, if Asa was the chair of the party, he'd say, 600 members stood up and cheered, wanted his autograph, and he left. You'd think, if the man is even interested in working with us, at least we should have a respectful dialogue.
Absolutely.
Somebody body of the group.
Right.
I mean, nobody yelled and threw tomatoes. I didn't see one person stand up and make negative commentary at that point. I saw a lot of people that were happy, and a bunch of people said, I'm so happy you brought him back, and he spoke. It made me feel good. And I thought, maybe there is a moment here for us. I had no clue that we were going to get this, avalanche of negativity based on what I observed then.
It's disingenuous. I mean, you're right. They were happy he was there, and then now all of a sudden, oh, money,
well,
but they don't understand it.
The thing I don't get is the media frenzy over this, the social media frenzy, the news media, and they lynched him before nobody ever talked to him. Nobody ever bothered to pick up the phone and wanted to get a soundbite. Nobody bothered to get an interview from him. Except Pam Salisbury, and that was on Tuesday.
And it was too late. 2
days after it had already happened.
Right.
And I don't get it. I don't understand how he can go to the SEC in Greensboro and be a hero and last Sunday be a villain. I don't get it. Well,
I can tell you exactly why. It's because of fear. I started getting, once there was the idea that, it was okay to have him be an honored hero, but once there was an idea that he would somehow be connected with us, a lot of people got fearful because they don't believe in the basic goodness of basically their neighbors. They believe that there's still a lot of latent racism, which I'm not going to dispute. And they said, well, if he was here, you're automatically going to, the elections are going to all go to the Republicans. And I said, now, wait a minute. You need to think this through. If you really look at parts of the state and where we're not getting the vote, where we have hundreds of thousands of people not registered, you're assuming that we're going to have to deal with the voter universe that we know of now. What if we expand the voter universe? I mean, we're leaving 100,000 plus Hispanics on the table because we're not engaging, that group. We're leaving more than 100,000 African Americans just in the northeast part of the state. And there's plenty of other, I would say progressive white voters and others that are, disaffected and not involved. So it was fear. It was essentially that if Ben Chavis is involved somehow, the Republicans are going to run hog wild. And we can't do that. We just need to have a faceless person up there that's not going to create any energy and excitement, and that way we can lose like we always lose. But when we lose, it'll be a conventional loss. I mean, it's the same reason in baseball. My grandpa was a major league player. He was a catcher, and he said, the manager will go pull out a guy throwing a two-hitter in the eighth inning, put in the reliever who gives up the game-winning home run, and then tell everyone, well, I did the conventional move. When everyone says, why'd you take the guy out? He was mowing him down. It's because we're afraid to do something unconventional. That's all it is.
Right.
I mean, people can say all these things, how, they skewered the man, but frankly, it was driven by fear. That's all.
Right.
Well, here's where we're at. You've got Casey Mann in there for 30 days. You're going to have a meeting with the SEC. They're going to have to call a meeting. That's going to take 30 to 45 days. What's going to happen?
Well, I think that we're going to come to the meeting in 30 days, and I'd like it to have be a robust meeting in Greensboro where I have a few other things on the table too. And I'd really like to have it be a truth and reconciliation meeting right in the heart of where the civil rights movement was started, and everyone get up and say, here's what I've done wrong, here's what I'd like to do, let's all forgive each other, and let's just move on instead of sniping and griping. And then get on to what?
You think that's going to happen? I mean,
I'm just telling you in my utopic view, I would like to actually have people focused on putting everything behind them. But I've learned that may not necessarily happen. So the realist in me knows we're going to go to the meeting. I'll present a lot of information to people about potential candidates, about Casey Mann, about other information, probably bring them revised budget information that people need, talk about trainings and what we're going to need to be doing going forward. And I suspect that you'll get a lot of people pushing to make a choice for either for an acting ED or permanent ED right then. I mean, Dewey Sheffield and Everett Ward were very much in favor of Casey Mann. So, I mean, we'll see what happens there. Right. Dewey is a long-respected member of the party. So
he is.
Yeah. So well, what it comes down to is when you go to that meeting, are you going to reintroduce Dr. Chavis, or are you going to try to see? are you going to reintroduce him, re-recommend him, or recommend him for the ED?
Right now, without talking to Dr. Chavis, I'm not sure what happened. We didn't introduce his name. It's essentially in abeyance. I've been getting, after the first blast of people that were responding to the negativity, there's been a counter blast of people that are also saying that they like Dr. Chavis, especially in communities, all in these districts down east. So I'm going to monitor the situation, and we're going to see what's going to happen. But I will tell you what we are going to do, and I'm inviting you guys to come to this. On March 1st in Charlotte, we're going to put on a Democracy Rocks event, and there's going to be a bunch of old school people there. I think MC Light's going to show up, Big Daddy Kane, and a whole bunch of folks. And we're going to put out entertainment and talk about community involvement and utilize some of the talents that he and I have. I also come from music, and say, look, we can reach folks, we can motivate folks, and we're going to raise money off of that. So what I want to tell people is this, don't judge us by what we say, judge us by what we do, and we'll have that done before that meeting. So it'll be harder for people to say things once they have something concrete. I'm also going to push to finish the 2012 audit, so then I will have completed 3 audits that weren't in my period of service, that have been waiting around, and so here they're done.
Wow.
So anyone who's talking about building on a solid foundation, there's nothing to worry about. We have done these audits. We're in a good position. So I want to come into there from a position of strength, and that's showing work.
Yeah. All right. Well, some people are saying that we're not even going to have a party 10, 15 years from now, a Republican Party or a Democratic Party, that is going to, go down straight to the candidates. If you want to donate money to your favorite candidate, that's fine, but there won't be a party to go through. I mean, I don't see it happening, though, like that. Do you?
People have been predicting, parties, imploding for years. I don't either. I do think there needs to be an influx of new talent into the parties that are concerned about the issues and the values we stand for. This can't just be an organization where you eat chicken and burp. I mean, it's got to be an organization where you're actually working on issues that are going to make a difference in the community from, local elections on up. Now, the reason that candidates like to, pull that, that it's about the candidate, it allows them to actually divorce themselves from the values that they purportedly believe in. And one of the most convenient things is to try to tell us about this mysterious, unaffiliated group of voters.
Yeah.
And acting as if they would love George to help us and do things with the Democratic Party, but there's this unaffiliated group, and we got to be working with them. And they forget that, of course, they run in our primaries and they run as Democrats. They also forget that most of those unaffiliates are actually folks that have views. Many of them used to be Democrats. And
That's
the reason
right.
they're not is they got disgusted in exactly the kind of things we've seen over the last couple of years. Mm-hmm. It's not that they're somehow middle-of-the-road people. They have very strong views, many times very progressive views. It's just they're disgusted with party politics.
Right.
I've heard that more than I've heard anything.